What's going on, guys? Jillian Smith here, and I am going to share with you the 3 best steps for calorie cycling for fat loss. Before we dive into that, I just want to ask you to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button below, because I'm going to be bringing you guys with all kinds of awesome nutrition knowledge bombs in the future, okay? Side note, we're going to be deep diving this topic much more in depth inside of a free 21-day body confidence challenge that I have starting today. I will also link that below if you'd like to join. It costs you nothing, and we're going to go way more in depth on this topic than I will inside of this video today. So step 1 would be to determine your overall caloric intake. Like, how many calories do you need to put yourself into a deficit? That's going to look a little bit different for everybody here. And in terms of calories, you want to remember it's just a unit of measure. So it's not the end all be all. Of course, when talking in terms of calorie cycling, we need to have some understanding of that energy balance, calories in, calories out. But there's a lot more going on with the body than just that. So these recommendations are based on the notion that the viewer, you, has physiology that's in a healthy state, metabolism's working somewhat optimally, hormones are functioning optimally. This should totally work if that is the case. If not, there might be a little more to discuss here, and that's the stuff that we're going to deep dive inside of that 21-day challenge. Initially, we're going to use the most simple way possible to determine your overall intake. You're literally just going to take the number 12 times your desired goal body weight. I'm going to use myself as an example for that today. So when choosing a desired goal body weight, you actually want to look at a number where you've probably been there before or close to that number. You felt pretty good overall, you're relatively lean, pretty comfortable there, like you didn't have to fight to stay at that weight, right? Okay, so for me, that weight is 170. To give you perspective, I'm about 5'7.5". Yes, I'm gonna claim that half, and also dense as fuck. Okay, so 170 times 12, for sake of example, using myself, that gives you 2,040 calories. That is the most simple way possible to determine what would put you into a small deficit. This should equate to about a half a pound to a pound of fat loss per week, depending on how great that deficit is. Again, there's a lot of variables that come into play, so we'll deep dive those topics inside of that 21-day challenge that I mentioned. If you're more advanced, maybe you've been paying attention to calories for a while, you would want to move into this option B under number 1, which would be looking at your resting metabolic rate, your exercise activity, and then also your non-exercise activity. That's something we'll deep dive in that challenge. For sake of today, we're just going to stick to the simple 3 steps. So number 2, we want to assign a protein value. The best is going to be about 1 gram per pound of goal body weight. The equation is anywhere from 0.8 to 1.2 times your desired goal body weight. A couple of things I want to say about that. Starting off, if you're nowhere near that number, so again, using myself as an example, if I need to take in 170 grams of protein daily, but let's say I've been averaging about 60 grams of protein daily, to go from 60 to 170, I'm gonna feel like I'm gnawing on a cow, and I don't wanna feel that way, right? There's that side of it. You will get sick of eating if you try to go 0 to 100 with that. Also, your digestion is probably not gonna respond well. Your body always adapts better when we make progressive incremental shift over time. So just something else to consider there. So let's say I was averaging 60, then I might try to bump that to like 75 to 90, depending on what that 75 to 90 feels like. Okay, so I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to stay super in tune with my body and incrementally, progressively strive to hit that 170 consistently. This is super important because having adequate protein when looking at pursuit of fat loss is going to help you to preserve the lean tissue on the body, because there is a big difference between losing weight and losing body fat, okay? So if we want to preserve the lean mass that we have, we should be 1 to 1.2 times that desired goal body weight, or times your lean body mass, if you do know what that number is. Step 3, moving on to step 3, we'll be looking at setting you up for sustainability inside of this process. So everybody's different, and I'm a big proponent of like not prescribing, right, the same exact thing for every single individual. Legally speaking, I don't prescribe anything. I give recommendations, right? So if you guys don't know, just to give you a breakdown of some macronutrients, and this is something else we'll deep dive in that 21-day challenge. 4 calories per gram of protein and carbohydrate, 9 of fat, and then alcohol is always going to be 7. So I don't want you guys to worry about that right now. All I want you to focus on is making sure you have your calories, your assigned protein target, and then how do we implement those two things into our daily life? For starters, just to keep it as simple as possible to set you up for success so that you do not feel overwhelmed starting this process. So example 1 would be if you're somebody that doesn't mind doing the same thing from one day to another, maybe it actually helps you mentally have that same structure day in, day out. You're gonna look at, again, using myself as an example, using that 2040 calories every single day. If you're not somebody who likes that, maybe you're super ADD, I kind of go in waves with this. So if you're like me, you'd be really good being super structured for a week, and then you're like, I need some variety in my life, okay? So then we might want to look at example 2 or 3 here. So example 2 is more geared towards your weekend warrior mentality, or maybe you're just super busy through the week and you don't feel like eating as much, or you don't have the time to take to get that much nutrition in you, okay? So for sake of example, we're gonna say you would keep the same calories Monday through Friday, and then increase them Saturday, Sunday to kind of make up for, what was lost during the week, still netting the same deficit as if you were to do 2040 every single day of the week, okay? So Monday through Friday, I would look at dipping into a little bit lower deficit, being 1,800. Saturday, Sunday, looking at 2,300 to make up for those calories throughout the week. That also just allows you a little more variety and flexibility on the weekends, which can be very nice. And then moving on to example 3, you can literally just go into like an up-down rotation or calorie cycle. These are just some examples. So you could go like 2 or 3 days low, 1 to 2 days high. It's all really what's going to set you up for success relative to your lifestyle. If you have questions on that, please let me know in the comments below, or just come join us inside of that 21-day challenge. Option 4, for sake of examples today, does involve some intermittent fasting. I like to preface by stating that if you're somebody that has a tendency to either disordered eating or binge eating tendencies, this is probably not the right approach for you. Okay, it's probably going to set you up for failure and just fall back into those sort of self-sabotaging behaviors. So obviously we don't want that relative to the body goals that you're trying to achieve. But you would look at implementing like 2 or 3 days of a fast throughout the week, maybe like separated would be, encouraged. And then essentially just making up for those calories on the alternate days. So you're kind of eating a lot on those days when you are eating. So that's the most basic, my opinion, my humble opinion, the best 3 steps to get you started inside of a calorie cycling approach for fat loss specifically. Inside that 21-day challenge, we're going to deep dive into, if you're a little more advanced and you want to look at adding in terms of like carbohydrate cycling, we can do that as well. Definitely join us. I'll link that below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.